Hello, I'm Toycat and welcome back to the second channel video. Today I wanted to do that thing that people tend to do when they get a little bit of internet influence and use it to complain about things that you can do nothing about, but that I want to get off my chest anyway. And so I'm very excited that the world is opening up for travel again. Most countries have slowly reached the point where they've decided that opening up is worth the tourism benefits, and they've mostly managed to mitigate the risks of the downsides of whatever that big disease was, because, vaccinations and so on and so forth. We're not going to be talking about the efficacies of vaccines and all that stuff today. Just know most countries are opening, and if you hate that, you know what, you probably hate a lot of things, and this isn't the first place you're hearing about it. However, here's the interesting thing. Even if you, so a lot of countries require vaccinations to get in, and I can prove my vaccination status to any country that asks. However, returning to a country, obviously that would be entering the UK, also requires that you follow, or entering England, technically, because for the purposes of COVID, there are different entry rules for each country in the UK, which is really interesting because 99.9% of the time, it's just the UK as one entity for border purposes. But these days, things are kind of strange, huh? Could talk about the UK being made up of countries that are only like countries most of the time. But in this case, England is my country, and the UK is not my country for the sake of how I get into my own place. And you know how it works? If you're fully vaccinated, as I am, I got a 1-dose vaccine in case you're curious. I got really sick for a day, which was entirely unnecessary, but I did it just for the sake of being able to be like, I'm vaccinated, leave me alone. And so, sadly though, it's really easy because if you're vaccinated, all you gotta do is get a test on or before day 2, of being in England. It's very simple, very easy. You just got to prove that you're fully vaccinated, because of course anyone can say it, but the way that you prove it, if you're in the UK, is you have to have the NHS COVID Pass, a app which doesn't fully understand 1-dose vaccines, because we've approved them in the UK, but they're not, like, most people don't have them, and so the app says that I'm only half vaccinated because I had 1 vaccine dose, which is simple. All I have to do is just get a second vaccine from another manufacturer, fix that problem, except if you look at walk-in vaccine centers through any London place, you'll find that most of them just have by the way, this is pronounced Pfizer. You know what? It's Pfizer, it's AstraZeneca, and it's Modern A. Anyway, so with that said, as you can see, most vaccine clinics only have these 3 because the Johnson & Johnson isn't very common in the UK, and you can't mix and match vaccines, and so I've been dealing with my GP, but they don't answer it. Long story short, I can't actually prove my vaccination status. I'm vaccinated, but also not, and so I can't leave the UK, even though it's fine if other countries want me to go to their countries, and the UK is fine with letting me back in, except because of some weird bureaucracy, I can't actually prove that, and that sucks. Maybe there's a flaw in the whole system in requiring vaccinations to do things, but that's not my duty. My duty is just instead to talk about places I'd like to go if I could leave the UK, because I had a whole trip planned. The next thing I was going to do, I was going to go to Vancouver, well, the airport in Vancouver. I wanted to go to Whistler, which, actually, where is Whistler on the map? Here it is. I want to go to Whistler. Whistler is the, I think it's North America's largest ski slope. I went there once, and, you ski downhill for, 5 minutes, and you're still going. Rather than, go up and down the slope all day, it's no, when you make it to the top, you spend a long, look at all these routes down the mountain. You spend a long time coming down. It's a lot of fun. Do you want to see Whistler? Do you want to see how cool it is when I'm not there? Yeah, this is how beautiful Whistler, oh, this is interesting. I could be in this apartment right now. We could be doing this video from this TV over there, but I'm not. Where I am instead is I am in England, because I cannot leave, because if I come back, I can't prove that I've been vaccinated, which is a whole thing. So anyway, with that said, let's talk about places I'd like to go. Again, realistically, I think if you escalate the problem high enough in the NHS, maybe someone would eventually see the logic in it, or at the very least, let me get Again, I'm willing to just have another vaccine. I'm not in this for the medical benefits. I'm in this for the administrative benefits. Just throw something in my arm. I don't, whatever. I'll be your guinea pig. Just let me enter my own country if I leave again. But anyway, where would I like to go? I'd love to go. You might notice I really like snowy places. I love mountains. It blows my mind. Okay, let me show you. I think it's Vancouver. The city itself, because obviously when you're going to Whistler, you have to go through Vancouver. It's crazy to me that you can be in a random street. Okay, here's me right now, and look to the north. What do you see? Oh, that's not the north, I don't think. Look to the north, and there's just some mountains. You can't see them from here, but you get the point. There's just mountains chilling to... Maybe if I go, to the edge of the city. I'll go right over here, shall I? If you go... Look what you see to the north. You see a friendly cyclist, and there's just mountains around the city. It's beautiful. I love mountains. I'm from a very flat place, England. I think I maybe mentioned I'm from there in this video. And so yeah, one of the places I love is Switzerland. Switzerland's very expensive though, and so I figured if I'm going to Switzerland again, I'm going to double down on this one. One of the places I've wanted to go forever is Zermatt. It's on the Matterhorn mountain. You've probably heard of the Matterhorn, I feel like. It might be the most famous, like, Swiss mountain. Maybe, like, one of the most famous in the world. Anyway, so, there is Zermatt, a little ski village right here. And the cool thing about Zermatt is if you go there, you can actually ski across the Italian border, and some of these ski slopes are in Cervina. I've been to Cervina solely because I wanted to ski across a border. It's cool, it's interesting, but the Zermatt side is so much more interesting. It has more slopes, and also it has the weird quirk of if I show you around the village, it won't work because Google Street View is done in the summer. And you gotta admit, even in the summer, mountains are kind of pretty. They're just not as pretty as in the winter. So instead, allow me to show you what it can look like. Wow, isn't that beautiful? Doesn't it look cozy? Don't you want to be in those orange areas surrounded by the snow? Do you not? But here's the other interesting thing. It's not just skiing, which is like one of those like rich people activities that I always feel wrong doing. Like I'm not the correct crowd for that. They don't want McDonald's eating fellas on the ski mountains with them, but they can't stop me. And the other thing they can't stop me doing is checking out the other interesting thing about Zermatt, because you'll notice if I street view anywhere around this village, there is never a car on the street. There is whatever this is, a bike, I'm guessing, and there's a bike and there's a man with some luggage, or women with luggage. You know, it's all the same. But you're not. There's a horse carriage over there, but they never have cars because internal combustion cars have been banned in Zermatt since like 1903 or something ludicrous. And so instead, what they use is these little electric taxis. These are actually electric cars, but they are mostly as taxis because you don't want to own your own vehicle. Maybe private vehicle ownership is banned there because you never see Teslas. It is just these things. And so yeah, you only see these quirky little things. And you might be thinking, well, how'd you get around? What about the police? Don't worry, the police have their own ones too. It's cute. It's adorable. And yeah, so as a result, I'd really love to go to Zermatt. I can't go to Zermatt, but it's a really cute little place right on the Swiss-Italian border that proves that whole thing about how weird borders are. Like, of course, in times gone past, this was a really naturally defensible border, right? Like, in times gone past, of course this was like, yeah, this is a mountain range. Try and invade us, Italy. You can't. You know, that's what Switzerland would say, of course. But yeah, so it's a beautiful place. Would love to go sometime. Obviously, sometime in the future. Speaking of places I'd like to go sometime in the future, I keep seeing cheap flights to Ostrava. Obviously, probably not anymore because, you know, like pandemic or something like that. But it's one of those cities that everyone's like, yeah, it's just an industrial place. You shouldn't visit. And because everyone keeps saying that, because it's like, yeah, what would you do there? I've even had some Czech subscribers be like, yeah, well, there's nothing great. You wouldn't go specifically there. I want to go here now. I want to go to the place that everyone recommends against because apparently my contrarian brain will allow me to have a relatively boring weekend just to prove people on the internet wrong. In fact, I would find the interesting things about it, right? Honestly, maybe it's better if it's not interesting. Maybe you can prove that you make the interesting things when you explore a new place. Even just, here's a little bazaar. It looks more like a pub than maybe a bazaar is the word for like bar, you know, like bar, but like, because it's European, we add some random letters in the middle. Bazaar, that's how you say it. That's a bizarre way to explain drinking places. But yeah, I've wanted to fly there forever just because cheap flights combined with I'm curious, right? I also, by the way, you know, I want to go to Krakow because they've got some... I don't know why this interests me so much, but wait, is it Krakow? Yeah, it's Krakow. They've got a really interesting salt mine, which again isn't interesting. It's like, how is that like their major attraction? But I need to know. Also, salt can't actually be mined, right? I need to know by coming here. Also, like most Polish cities, if you check out again, it's got the quirky, fun, old center. Very interesting. Wow, I love it so much. But also, as well as that, of course, it's got the thing of like... I feel like a lot of Polish cities are underrated in terms of major European destinations. And so, going to Krakow on my list. Also, if I'm not mistaken, near Katowice is, you know, the big place for the people that are killed. I can't mention the event here on YouTube without getting demonetized. But I do hear a lot of people died in what is modern-day Poland. It wasn't Poland that did it. I think it was the guys on the west. Maybe it's not near Katowice, but there's a place, and it's not good. And yeah, I would recommend checking that out sometime. I know everyone's always like, it's so sad, and it's like, can it really be that sad? I'm gonna go to the... See, and I can't even make this joke that I'm gonna go to the place where the people died and I'm gonna have a good time. Why shouldn't we? Do you think the people, you know, like being sent off to a concentration camp against their will, do you think they're like, wow, I hope if someone sees this one day, they get sad? If I saw someone happy, you know, having even a slightly good time here, I'd be mad. It's like, no. It's like a funeral. Have a good time, or you're making things worse. Is this like really laggy right now? This kind of is, right? Is this the speed things are meant to be moving at? What we're talking about Eastern Europe, by the way, another place that I actually do really want to, like, you know what, like, going to Ostrava is just me proving the internet wrong. Going to Krakow is solely for a salt mine, and, like, again, I would find interesting things in there, but, like, the thing that I am very curious about is, because Romania, I've been to most EU countries. Again, at one point, when I started, like, having free time, and when flights were so cheap that it's like a $5 to go to Denmark, or like, you know, £13 to go to Slovenia or whatever it was. When I just started traveling around random European countries, I ended up going to like the vast majority of the EU. One of the countries I haven't been yet is Romania. It's the 6th most populated EU state. It might be 5th most because the UK is left now. Excited for you, Romania. Glad you're moving up the rankings. And so I have to visit Romania and congratulate them on their victory. Bucharest is obviously the biggest. It's like the 3rd biggest city too. Oh, maybe that's what it is. Maybe Bucharest is like the 5th biggest city in the EU. Whatever, Bucharest is a huge city, and I want to check it out. I like big cities. That's my thing. It's got the whole Old Town thing going on. Wow, do you want to walk around some old places and find Dristor kebab? You better believe I do. It's not the best kebab, don't get me wrong. I'm not gonna relive that authentic Luton experience, but there's a subway above it, and they exchange... Wait, what? How is it both a kebab place and an exchange place? You know, I love that. That is the beauty of, you know, the Old Town in, the beauty. That's why we go to Old Towns, because we want kebabs and we want to change our money. As you can see, beautiful. Old Town, everyone loves it. But the other thing about Bucharest I've always wanted to see, because, again, it's just one of those massive things, is the Palazzo Parlamenti. So, when the communists took charge, they figured, how do we show we're in touch with the people? That's right, a giant palace. I forget by what metric it's the largest, but by some it's like one of the largest in the world. Maybe it's like proportional to... It's such a ludicrously large building, because obviously, again, like, what shows equality? Ruling class, giant palace, everyone else, minus starvation and lack of rights. I mean, who needs rights when we have a palace, am I right? I mean, again, like, rights are all relative, right? Like, I'm not going to make that thing of like, oh, well, as you can see, just because they're communists and they use the people's money to build a giant palace themselves doesn't mean they're bad guys. I bet some of them did some painting in there, and I bet some of them weren't even terrible people. I bet that's true. Anyway, so I've always wanted to go see this. Also, obviously, so I spend the morning in the Old Town, check out the palace at lunch, maybe get some dinner in first, but then where I'd like to visit most, internet, is definitely Uranus. I would like to spend a lot of time inside Uranus, and honestly, I was thinking, you know, like, I was thinking I'd enjoy the experience. I was thinking, maybe, in fact, I could get some fried chicken while I was in Uranus and really make an evening of it. But, yeah, I was thinking that, we could start shopping while we're in there. I mean, what's stopping me from going to the pharmacy while I'm in Uranus? Maybe, I could revisit Uranus the next evening. Who knows for sure? But I just know I'd have a good time in Bucharest. Solely for the, go to Bucharest just for the jokes. Also, they divide their city into sectors, which I find the weirdest thing, right? Like, it's like a wheel. So the sector 1, let me just show you. Here's sector 3. As you can see, I think this is such a cool way to do cities. Like, London has zones, which are like concentric circles, but like, I feel like sectors, I feel like there's an appeal to the sector concept of like, it's like a little wheel. Also, is this like sector? Is this just? Oh, it's just a different city altogether. So yeah, I'd love to visit Bucharest. It sounds very interesting. Also, they've got an Arc de Triomphe, as we all know. This is the real one. Where's the Arc de Triomphe? It says it's closed, but show me the Arc of Triumph. Oh, there we go. Wait, has it got like a hammer and sickle in there? Am I crazy? No, that's someone's face. See, that's me of communism on the brain. Just loved communism too much. That's my problem. That's most people's problem. That's what Eastern Europe's problem was. They just loved communism too much. Definitely recommend speaking to people from Eastern Europe. Ask them their opinions on communism. They'll all say with 0 responses, they'll be like, yeah, I love communism so much, wish we could go back. That is definitely the most popular opinion. You definitely don't see a rise of the right across Eastern former communist Europe because of former socialist Europe, if we're being honest, right? Although actually, people always like, oh, it's socialist, not communist. Oh, does this say communist palace? Are we not trusting Google Maps now? Aha, checkmate. Cannot get, not true communism now. Google Maps says it, and we all know Google Maps is right. especially about play. You know, imagine living in Uranus. Imagine having to live with that. That's what you have to do, defenders of the non-existent regimes which have collapsed in the east of Europe. For some reason, you know, pick a better target to defend, you know? It's like people who defend Weird Man from 1945 Germany. It's like, come on, guys. If you're that far to the right, at least pick a better example of it, right? Speaking of which, so other places I'd like to go, I love Nevada. Nevada. See, I'm an American now. I love Nevada because I can't say Nevada. Like, I have to say Nevada or I have to do an American accent. There's no in between. Anyway, I love Nevada because but honestly, I like Vegas as a city. Something I love, which I think a lot of people find tacky, is just like excess, I guess. Like showing, like all of these casinos are multi-billion-dollar enterprises, and this is a Target with a cute dog. But all of these casinos are multi-billion-dollar enterprises, and they are, you know, like they suck money in, and then they use that money they suck in to build things to suck in more money. Which, again, is like horrifying to some people, and is like capitalism gone wrong or something. Again, you know, I want to see communism gone wrong, I want to see capitalism gone wrong. I've got a fair and balanced opinion over here. Anyway, so speaking of things that are balanced, I find it to be so interesting to like look around Vegas, the Strip in particular, but even like downtown Vegas, which is just, again, like more of just a casino town. Actually, you know, fun fact, the Strip isn't even in Vegas, but like even downtown Vegas, it's so interesting. I can't say I would spend my life there, but I can say like I could spend a lot of time there. I could spend a very long time there. And so we all know I've considered living in Vegas. I didn't for reasons we've dove into. But yeah, basically, I like Nevada as a state. It's one of those 0% income tax states. If I was going to end up in the United States, it'd probably be in Nevada. And so I'd love to go to Reno. Reno is the, I guess you describe it as like, again, less glitzy glamoury, but just an entire town that is a casino. It's not actually entirely casino. But like, again, you look around and it's like, oh yeah, it's casinos here. Oh, we look over here. What's that? There's casinos here too. I think that's the same casino. What's that big bull? I bet it's part of a casino in some way. Oh look, this is like, again, this reminds me of like a Disney downtown street thing. But then they're casino. Oh, at least some of them are. And then look at this one. There's Hotel Casino with a giant clown. World-class circus shows every day. Free world-class circus shows. I'm just saying, like, what more do we need in life besides world-class circus shows? I definitely don't want world-class circus shows. You know, what does that even mean? What is the regionality of circus shows? Like, I don't want to see a country standard, you know, a national standard, national best. I want to see an international best clown show. And also, again, I find places like this that are like heavily, what's the word here? Like, I like immigrant-based populations in the sense that I like places where everyone moves to, because then everyone there is usually choosing to be there. I hate when people like despise where they live. Like, just go somewhere else. And then people are like, it's not that simple, Toy Cat. It's like, yeah, you're right. It's much more simple to just live somewhere you despise. Sorry for me getting it wrong there. Anyway, so before we go any further, just for fun, right? I hope I don't have any. You know, actually, yeah, just for fun. Before we go any further, I figured I'd explain. I haven't been anywhere since January of 2019. It's looking like January of 20. No, wait, it'd be 2020, I guess. I'm dumb. And so yeah, I figured I'd show you where I did last go for recreational reasons. Because obviously I've been traveling around a lot for international government-related reasons recently. And that's a nice vague way to word it. And so let me show you where I last went. I went to Oslo and the City Forest. I think it's called the City Forest. But maybe it's called the City Mountain. But yeah, basically, I don't even know where it is on a map. That's how much I know about it. Anyway, so there's a big old city forest around here somewhere. Over here. I know the metro goes very close to it, but I don't know how close. I think it's over here. Yeah, it's this way. Anyway, I went to this lovely viewpoint right here, and I went when it was very snowy. Again, there was no woman drinking a Dasani bottle when I went up. And so yeah, this, instead of looking like this, it looked more like, ignore the unicorns, if you will. If you can, just ignore those unicorns. And let me show you this instead. Yeah, look how beautiful it was. There's me in 2019. Not realizing this is the last time I'll travel to a new place. I mean, I've been to Oslo before, but not realizing this is the first time I'll have some recreation travel that isn't killing your grandmother for a while, because that's what recreation travel does. Kills your grandmother specifically. And yeah, look, I'm enjoying it so much. It's not even. I'm so good at nature. You can see I go there all the time. Anyway, so yeah, I went to Norway last. In case you're curious, you're not curious, but guess what? We're sticking with it anyway. Speaking of things we're sticking with, I'd also. As well as loving to go to Reno. I haven't been to South America yet. I'm disappointed. Santiago, Chile. If you look around this place, it looks so European. I can't get over how ludicrously European it looks. Like, look at this. Am I in Spain? Not Spain, really. Maybe Spain. I get more like Budapest vibes from this, you know? Could be I mean, besides the wide roads. Like, am I in Budapest? Or, this looks a bit more like Serbia on this side. But again, it's European, is my point. I wonder why South America looks European in the big cities. Someone's gonna have to explain that one to me in the comments. I bet there's no good reason for that. If, you know, I bet it's not historic based or anything. I bet it's a pure coincidence. I don't think there's any link between Europe and South America. I mean, if there was a link between Europe and South America, the comments would definitely let me know. Yeah, just type one out. Let me know that. Boost that engagement. Should I just say dumb things in every video? Like, you know what, guys? I'm starting to think that it's gotta be enraging enough that people actually want to correct it. Like, yeah. Anyway, speaking of things that are interesting, the last place I want to go that I haven't been is Cape. Actually, there's so many. I want to go to Woodstock, Cape Town. Now, I want to go to Cape Town. It's a little worrying, South Africa. Like all the advice of like, oh yeah, don't worry, you probably won't get murdered. It's like, wait, did you say probably? But yeah, my flights to Cape Town were in January 2021. They got cancelled, sadly. It's very, very tragic. Like, it literally just was like the UK went into lockdown, and so they just assumed no one could go on the flights. So I didn't even get to cancel it myself. They cancelled it for me. It was tragic. I think they gave me a refund in the end, though. Should really check on that. I'll confirm they gave me a refund. I'm pretty sure if they didn't give me a refund, I'd probably know about it. Also, I'd really love to go to Wellington, New Zealand. It's the capital of New Zealand. That's my best New Zealand accent. It wasn't very good, was it? Maybe if I spent more time in New Zealand, it'd be better. I liked Auckland, but like Auckland's a big city, but it's just a smaller version of like Melbourne or Sydney. More specifically, Melbourne. I feel like Melbourne and Auckland have a lot in common, but Auckland's just a worse version. No offense to the millions of people who live there, but I'm not a big fan of your city. I wouldn't spend a lot of time there off my own choice because of how isolated it is. Maybe it's just because I was so jet lagged. I didn't enjoy it. I like my time in rural New Zealand, and so I want to see the weird small towns in the South Island, and also Wellington. It's the capital, I hear, and so they probably have like, you know, things there. Also, I want to see the capital of Australia, Canberra. Again, there's a lot of just weird things about Canberra because it's what's the word? It's a constructed city, like they designed it from the ground up basically, and so you get circular roads, which yeah, again, can't really exist if you let people build. Look at all of this. It's all so strange. Who decided circular roads were a thing? Says the British person, famous for roundabouts. Anyway, with that said, yeah, I also want to explore the other states I haven't been to. South Australia, gotta visit you. I want to be inside you, South Australia. Same with Queensland. I want to see what Brisbane's about. It's pretty low on my priority list, but I want to see all the Australian cities. Because Australian states are way more different to each other than American states. Who knows why? Who knows what? I haven't been to South Korea yet. Again, I had a plan. Plans got cancelled. Did get refunded for those ones, if I'm not mistaken. I want to go to Chiang Mai? Am I dumb? It's not called Chiang Mai, right? It's called, there's a big second city in the north of Thailand. Chiang Mai. I am dumb. Anyway, it's really popular with, expats? No, what's the word? Like digital nomads. And so yeah, look at this, by the way. You can get natural squares apparently. Oh, that's so strange. Anyway, I want to go to Chiang Mai. It's very popular with digital nomads, as in people who just travel continuously. Like officially, I think there's a weird thing. It's a loophole I'm not going to abuse because I feel like someone will definitely get. Again, I try not to abuse loopholes. I try to only use honest policies from countries. But if you don't spend 180 days in any country, you're not legally a tax resident of anywhere. And again, if someone calls you out on that, you'd be screwed. But in reality, you just have to be like, yep, only spent 40 days in your country last year, don't tax me. And so basically, basically a lot of people just go to places like Thailand where the cost of living's low, where your tax situation will be basically non-existent because you're there as a tourist or whatever. And where, again, like, let me show an example. How much does it cost for breakfast and brunch at Sunrays? Let me show you. Oh, I guess I have to, let's go back. This probably looks expensive, actually, I bet. But if we go to, they're LGBTQ friendly and women led. That's very cool. I find that to be such a weird like thing on Google Maps. Like that's what's deciding my decision here. It's definitely not the reviews or the type of restaurant. I make my decisions based on who leads the company. Anyway, foodpanda.co.ch. .co.ch? Oh, .th. I was gonna say, is this Swiss? Oh, let's see if it delivers to my area. So we'll just quickly we'll type this in. 53 Wallaby. They do not deliver to my street. How sad. Anyway, it's 59 baht for stir-fried basil with chicken on rice. That's not... I know 500 baht is $15, so $1.50 is that? Yeah, about like just under $2, just over. Yeah, something like that. Spicy sausage salad. See, it's crazy. It's cheap. That's my point. I picked a random place in the center of the big city. It's very cheap to live there, and I wanna visit places like that. Again, I have like a, not a vision. I have a feeling that one day, again, no, it's not actually gonna happen. It's like the fantasy where everyone has a way they'd murder someone, right? I always figured, like, you know, what if I just like abandon everything one day? You know, just no one finds me again, and then I'm chilling in like Chang. No one's gonna bother to look for me there. I mean, they'll look for me now because I've said this. Well, I'm not going to Chang me anymore. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And yeah, so I could do this video forever, honestly. There wasn't much point to it besides to complain, but I made it into a positive thing, just like you should do with all of your negative energies. If you have negative energies you'd like to get out, remember, you can do so with the help of this video's sponsor. I'm just kidding, there's no sponsor. Go to patreon.com/toycat if you like the no sponsor videos. I do have a sponsor video coming up soon though, about oh, actually, maybe I will slide a sponsorship. I'm not gonna. Whatever. Hope you all enjoyed the video. Gonna talk about things in the future, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.